Hi guys, it's a Chook Man here and Hogan here today down at his favourite park. He loves his park because there's not many dogs down here. Guys, you know how I love to tell an interesting story because I've lived an interesting life. My life hasn't been easy, as you all know. But here's another story. I went to a garage sale one day. Good boy Hogan. Hogan's relaxed now, look at that. He loves it down here. I went to a garage sale one day and there was this lady. She had tears rolling down her eyes, and I said to her, are you okay? And she said, no, not really. I said, if you don't mind me asking, why are you crying? And she said, I did a silly thing. She had sold Tonka toys. Now those Tonka toys weren't hers, they were her son's. And her son's dad passed them down, and she thought they were for the garage sale. And I said, is that why you're crying? And it was only around the corner from where I was living. Anyway, I said to her, cheer up, I'll see what I can do. Do you know what the guy looks like that brought the Tonka toys? Anyway, she told me what he looked like. And I had a rough idea who brought him because when you go to garage sales, you kind of know people that buy stuff around the area. So I went and faced this guy and I said, mate, we've got to give these toys back to the lady because she sold them and they weren't supposed to be sold. Anyway, he sort of said, oh, piss off, they're mine now. And I said, no, there's a sad story to him. The lady that sold him didn't mean to sell him. She just sold him at a garage sale and she'd like him back. And I said to the guy, I'll give you the money that you paid for him. There's about 5 or 6 of them. Anyway, we had some words and they weren't good words. And I went around to all the different garage sales and where you buy second-hand stuff. And I brought all these old Tonka toys. They weren't the same Tonka toys that she sold, but they were close enough. And so there was about 6 Tonka. There was trucks, there was bulldozers, there was tippers. So out of the kindness of my heart, I brought all these second-hand Tonkas from the 70s. I went back to the lady that was crying, and I said, if you open the door, it should make your day in the truck. So she opened the door and she was like, what? Are they all my Tonka toys? I said, no, they're not the original ones that you lost, but these are ones from the 70s, and it's the best I can do for you. And she had a smile from ear to ear. She said, GD, you didn't have to do this. And I told her that I tried to get the original Tonka toys back to her so she could give them back to her husband, because her husband's dad passed them on to the husband, and she didn't know. She thought they were for sale in the garage sale, so she sold them. Anyway, the moral of the story is that I tried my best to get the Tonka toys back to her so she could give them back to her husband that was passed down to him from his dad. They weren't the original ones, but I felt like it was my duty to see if I can get them back. And I tried my hardest. And I couldn't get the original ones back to her, but the ones I did find, they were from the 70s. And as far as I was concerned, they were just as good as the ones that she sold by mistake. And she was so happy that some stranger would go out of their way to find these Tonka toys and give them back to her so she could give them back to her husband. There was, these Tonka toys meant something to her husband because her husband's father gave them to her husband, and I did my part, and that's all I could do. So yeah, that's a good story in itself. She lost her husband's Tonka toys that were handed down to her husband from his father, and I tried to get them back, but the guy that brought them, he didn't care. He just said, "Oh, bad luck, they're mine now." But I did my bit, and it made her feel good and it made me feel good. So she got her Tonka toys back. They weren't the original ones, but they were Tonka toys from the 70s, and it put a smile on her face. And the moral to the story is I tried my best to keep her happy after she done that horrible mistake. She didn't sell these Tonka toys she didn't sell them on purpose. She just thought they were a part of the garage sale, so she sold them. And when she sold them, her husband wasn't there. Her husband was at work. But anyway, the moral to the story is I tried my best for a complete stranger to see if I could do something nice for her, and she was just blown away. A complete stranger would go out of their way trying to locate all these Tonka toys that were sold and get them back for her so she could be happy and pass them back to her husband. But it's not what I can get out of life, it's what I can put back into life that matters. And I reckon it's a real good story. So yeah, I hope you can understand that story. So the moral of the story was she sold her husband's Tonka toys that were handed down from his father to her husband. And yeah, it's a good story when you really listen to what happened. She sold them not knowing that they weren't for sale, and when she realised that they were handed down from his father to him and they weren't supposed to be sold, I did my best anyway. Alright guys, as I always say, have a great day and look after your mental health. It's bye from the Chook Man and bye from Hogan. It's chilling out down here at his favourite park. He loves it down here. It's pretty peaceful down here.